news.
Okay, we'll start with this. A continuation to a story I talked about in my previous video. Delphine Persoon becoming the mandatory challenger for Alicia Baumgartner and applying pressure on the World Boxing Council in order to see that mandate come down. Alicia Baumgartner's response to all this talk of a Delphine Persoon fight. In so many words, what she said was, there's nothing dangerous about Delphine Persoon.
Winner's mentality.
For as long as I've known Alicia and corresponded with her, that's what she's had. A winner's mentality. You never saw somebody do something difficult, do something hard by telling themselves that they can't do it.
Gotta believe in yourself, even if other people don't, though. Is she right? Is Delphine Persoon no threat to her reign as undisputed champion? And there's where I have to disagree. Delphine is dangerous.
Oftentimes forcing fighters to fight at an accelerated rate, her pace. She's a pressure fighter. More often than not, that's what she does, that's what she applies. Pressure, constant pressure. How should Alicia Baumgartner, given everything we've seen from her already, how should she approach this fight? How would she?
Alicia's base style seems to live somewhere in between the pure boxer. More often than not, that's the look of her, the look of a pure boxer, and a boxer puncher, depending on the opponent and depending on the occasion. With Mikaela Mayer, she was a pure boxer, but with Elham Mekhaled, with Christina Linardatu, in her last two fights, Alicia was more of a boxer puncher.
Several years younger than Delphine Persoon, who's pushing 40. I think she's 38, going on 39 now, whereas Alicia, she's approximately 10 years younger. I think she's 29.
And having two base styles to toggle through, the more appropriate way to approach Delphine Persoon and her constant pressure is as a boxer puncher.
Showing that spite, that aggression. Delphine Persoon is not a fighter that you can approach with too much finesse. You have to show some ferocity. You have to show some spite. She's going to put you in a situation where you have to fight her off or she's going to outfight you.
Outwork you.
Delphine, I think Alicia would have to approach that fight with a nuanced approach. An emphasis on counterpunching almost immediately comes to mind because Delphine Persoon is going to give you a lot of opportunities to counter her, a lot of opportunities to make her miss and make her pay, and you have to keep the counters coming.
And there's a difference. There's a difference between counterpunching, consistently making her miss and making her pay, and selling out mid-range to inside. You don't want to sell out with Delphine.
Get into more exchanges than necessary, more exchanges than needed to. Delphine wants you to trade. She wants to draw you out into a war.
There is a difference between letting your hands go and keeping the counters coming and trading, getting into exchanges.
You don't want to get into exchanges too much. You don't want to do that. For this fight, I feel that for Alicia, there should be an emphasis on body punching.
She's a very sharp puncher.
Because Delphine can keep the punches coming from the opening round to the final round, you want to go to the body. Take some of the air out of the tires.
Slow her down.
Hear it all the time. You don't recover from body punches the same way you do head punches. You get hit to the body.
It's going to have a lasting effect.
Big part of what makes Delphine such a dangerous fighter isn't just brute force and power and volume. It's the pace that she sets for a match to where her opponents can't keep up with her. So if Alicia aspires to slow her down, she's got to take some air out of the tires. She's got to go to the body.
I'd wager that punch for punch, single punching power, Alicia is actually a bigger puncher than Delphine.
The sharpness, the speed, the accuracy, the power. I'd wager that in terms of single punching power, Alicia likely packs a bigger single punch than Delphine does. But what makes Delphine dangerous is the volume, the work rate.
That's why I can't stress this enough. Alicia's got to focus on counterpunching. Make Delphine miss and make her pay. And missing punches, you burn twice as much energy as you would have if you actually landed. If you landed on the arms or the gloves.
If you actually hit something. You're talking about a bit of lateral movement, creating a bit of space to set a trap. You're talking about level changes.
Not giving Delphine a clear target.
Slip and counter, roll and counter.
Delphine Persoon shows the jab.
Steps into it to bring over other punches and close the distance on her opponents. But it's not a defensible jab, you understand.
It's not.
If Alicia Baumgartner was able to effectively counter Mikaela Mayer's jab, which is a more efficient, more defensible jab than Delphine's, if Alicia was able to counter Mikaela's jab, she can counter Delphine's.
Yeah.
Counter it hard
Yeah.
with a big right hand over the top. It's those kinds of punches that you want to land. Careful not to burn out, not to blow your load.
Alicia's got to pace herself.
You don't want to have a really strong rally in one round towards the tail end of it, putting punches together, other and end up depleted in the next round as a result, because Delphine would capitalize on that.
The idea that you're going to go in there fighting fire with fire, the idea that you're going to make this a shootout, a contest of strength, that's not the way to go about it. The way to go about it is to sharpshoot. Keep the punches coming, but be smart.
Smart about it. Counter punches sting, and Alicia is by and large a bigger and better counterpuncher than Delphine Persoon. That's the strength she has in her arsenal that Delphine doesn't have. Delphine is plenty durable and plenty resilient, but predictable.
She can definitely be caught. She can definitely be counted.
Taking a page out of Jaron Ennis's playbook and what we just saw in the Roman Villa fight, that's how Alicia has to approach Delphine.
It's a dangerous fight. It's a plenty dangerous fight, but it is a winnable fight. Alicia has the tools. She just has to use the right ones.
Men's Super Bantamweight news ahead of this upcoming week's mega fight. Stephen Fulton says a lot of fighters wouldn't have done this, would have been trying to protect their O's. There is a grain of truth in what Stephen Fulton is saying, especially when it comes to American fighters. They don't like to travel, least of all when they're champions. It's because they think they don't have to. They still view America as the mecca of boxing, even when they themselves are not big draws in America. We see it all the time.
Remember when Eddie Hearn offered Shakur Stevenson a 7-figure purse to travel to the UK to take on Josh Warrington in what would have been a unification match?
I don't have any illusions about how that fight would have played out. I would have heavily favored Shakur Stevenson to beat Josh Warrington, but the fact that he didn't go there, the fact that he didn't travel, that he didn't fight him, even though he stood a good chance of winning, that accents what I'm talking about.
Or when Eddie Hearn offered Adrian Broner the Conor Benn fight 2 times. Conor Benn, at least at that time, was a bigger draw in the UK than Adrian currently is in the US, but Adrian didn't want to travel, didn't like the money.
It's always something. When Stephen Fulton says that a lot of other fighters, a lot of other champions, would not have made the same decision that he did, he's spot on. He's actually right. I feel like I did it because it was a good fight, but more so, I just like doing what people won't do. Fulton told BoxingScene.com. You get what I'm saying? A lot of fighters wouldn't have done this. Everybody would have been trying to protect their O's and things like that. I straight made the fight happen, and it didn't take no time. I straight made the fight happen.
Well, he definitely did. He definitely had his role to play, but so did Naoya Inoue, who went through the proper channels. As an undisputed champion, he petitioned for WBO Super Champion status so he could become Stephen's mandatory straight away.
That sped things up a bit. That helped that process along. Naoya Inoue could have taken a layup fight, a little tune-up fight, as his first fight as a super bantamweight, but he wanted to fight a champion straight away. He put Stephen in a position to where either he's going to satisfy his mandatory in Naoya Inoue, or he's going to relinquish the title. And Stephen was willing to oblige him. So both men deserve credit for making the fight happen. When Fulton informed Al Heyman that he wanted to travel overseas to face Inoue, not fight Brandon Figueroa again, the notoriously reclusive manager/advisor was fully supportive. He said, give the man what he wants. Fulton recalled, he said, this is the fight that you want to happen? Give the man what he wants, he said. I believe in you. I know you can do it. Give the man what he wants.
Al Heyman, who has become notorious for blocking fights that involve his fighters, did not stand in the way of this one, even though they had an alternative lined up for Stephen, a second Brandon Figueroa fight that no one was asking for and would not have the reception, the fan reaction that this fight is set to have.
Let's be honest, Stephen Fulton would not have made in a rematch with Brandon Figueroa what he stands to make in this title defense against Naoya Inoue because of Naoya Inoue's influence, because of his celebrity in Japan. Both guys stand to make a lot of money, but Stephen Fulton in particular, who would not have made with Brandon what he stands to make with Naoya. We're talking about close to $3 million or $3 million.
Context is key.
Super bantamweights don't normally make that kind of money. You think about the reported earnings for the Figueroa fight, the first one that Stephen had, and the number is anywhere in between $500,000 to $1.5 million, but not $3 million.
Stated, super bantamweights don't normally make that kind of money, not even champions.
Naoya Inoue, being the superstar that he is in Japan, is what makes that kind of purse possible for a 122-pound fighter. Super bantamweights, they don't normally get paid that much. The fight itself is going to be so crazy that no one will really just sit there quietly, Fulton said. I feel like it's going to be an amazing fight, and that's my honest opinion. I feel like it's going to be a skillful-ass fight, and that's what I feel like. That it's going to be a very skillful, entertaining fight. ESPN Plus will stream Fulton versus Inoue on Tuesday in the United States, approximately at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.
5 a.m. on the West Coast.
I have a safety concern that I would like to address. In previous fights, Inoue and his team has wrapped his hands with excessive amount of tape on his skin, then placing gauze and more tape, which creates a cast.
というのも、前回の試合では自分たちにとってあまり納得のいってない結果にもなり、自分たちにとっては、この試合こそしっかりとクリーンに行っていきたいと思っています。
This is not an assumption, I have proof. We could also wrap our hands in the same fashion, but then again, where is the level of safety for the fighters?
そしてこの試合そのものが選手たちのレベル、そして選手たちの質を下げることのないように祈ります。
If this issue isn't resolved, I would not let my fighter into the ring.
そしてこのような問題がまだまだ起こるようでしたら、選手たちがリングに上がる意味はなくなってくると思います。
We are already behind enemy lines. We have made no request, nothing at all. We have not even asked for a rematch clause. This is the only request that I'm demanding.
Comments are from Wahid Rahim, Stephen Fulton's trainer, who raised these concerns at the press conference for the match. And being honest with you, I'm not losing much sleep over it. I'm not too concerned because the fight is actually only 3 days away, just about 3. It's too close.
They've come too far to turn back now.
If you were watching this press conference, you would have seen Stephen Fulton's reaction at the proposition that he might withdraw, that he might pull out. He himself seemed surprised to hear it. Now, I don't know if these are mind games or just pre-fight jitters. Perhaps Stephen Fulton, the fighter, Stephen Fulton, the champion, is not concerned, but his team is, his trainer is.
In a scenario where Stephen Fulton withdraws from the match due to this whole hand wrap issue, the only one to blame would be Stephen Fulton, not his trainer, not the one raising those concerns. Because if Stephen Fulton wants to fight, he's going to fight. His trainer cannot override him.
Stephen doesn't take marching orders from Wahid Rahim. It's the other way around. So if by some chance Stephen were to withdraw, the blame would be laid at his feet. Though in truth, I don't think he's going to. I think he's come too far and the fight is too close for that to happen.
I think it's going to go through.
Comments from Wahid Rahim have raised concerns, in some quarters, small ones, that Stephen Fulton shouldn't be fighting abroad anyway. He's the champion. Why should he defend his title on foreign soil? One Twitter user that goes by the name Marathon Cash says, I hope he does pull out. He shouldn't be defending his titles in another country anyway.
It's a defeatist mentality is what that is, that Americans shouldn't have to travel abroad, but how many foreign fighters don't come to America?
Josh Taylor fought Jose Ramirez for the undisputed championship. He fought him here in the United States.
And Teofimo Lopez. By that reckoning, by that logic, Josh should have just stayed home.
Sentiment comes from a feeling that America is still the mecca of boxing, even when the American fighter is not as big a draw here as the foreign fighter is there.
You can't reason with people like this, or appeal to reason with them. They have no reasoning skills.
Stephen Fulton, credit to him, is traveling abroad for what would be the biggest fight of his career, but not just the biggest fight, the biggest purse. He can't get that purse fighting anybody in America that he's currently getting fighting Inoue in Japan. That's reality. And this is prize fighting. He's fighting for the biggest prize, like he's supposed to.
He's doing what he's got to do, what he's supposed to. It's sad to see that his fans don't have his resolve, his intestinal fortitude, afraid that he might suffer his first professional loss abroad. They prefer that he not fight at all.
What kind of boxing fans it is?
These are not fans of boxing. These are not fans of the sport of boxing. What they are tribalists that use boxing as a channel for their tribalism.
A medium. I don't actually think Stephen Fulton is going to withdraw. And the Japanese Boxing Commission, the commission over there in Japan, they're sticklers for the rules. They're stringent.
All this talk about stacking the wraps, loaded wraps.
It's all bullshit. I don't think Stephen is going to withdraw as a result of these accusations. And the only thing that might come from this are excuses. Should Stephen Fulton falter? Should he lose? His fans will have this crutch to lean on.
Tribalism in tandem with a defeatist mentality is what motivates this.
It's a combination of delusions of grandeur and fear of failure. That this guy couldn't possibly beat Stephen Fulton fair and square. He can't possibly be the genuine article, every inch the fighter that they say he is. There's got to be something wrong here. He must be cheating.
You guys know that I'm no fan of Tyson Fury. You guys know that I'm not a fan of his shenanigans, his antics, but the Glovegate conspiracy is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. What really happened to Deontay Wilder is he underestimated Tyson Fury.
Deontay Wilder picked a cherry in Tyson Fury, who was recovering from substance abuse and obesity. In Deontay Wilder's own mind, he was fighting him at the right time, not realizing that even that version of Tyson Fury was still a better boxer than he would ever be.
And him being a better boxer than Deontay, that doesn't make him any less a con man or a grifter, but he essentially ran a grift on Deontay. Made him think that he was just there for a few quid.
Pulled a fast one on Deontay is what he did, and he pulled a fast one on the boxing community at large, so that when he beat Deontay Wilder in the second fight, Deontay can start up with the excuses and the allegations, accusations of foreign objects concealed inside the wraps, inside the gloves, glove tampering. None of that was ever substantiated, you understand, in spite of Deontay's accusations and his team.
His fans.
Try as they did to propagate that narrative, that conspiracy, it never held any water. And the reason they did this is due to delusions of grandeur in tandem with fear of failure.
There's no way he could beat my guy. He must be cheating.
When all it really is that Tyson Fury, for Wilder, that was a cherry pick gone wrong. They underestimated the wrong fighter, and it blew up in their face.
Afterwards, all they could do is make excuses.
The act of making excuses, the Glovegate conspiracy, this current situation between Stephen Fulton and Naoya Inoue, it comes from a combination of delusions of grandeur and fear of failure.
These people ain't got no shame. If Stephen Fulton loses on Tuesday, you can bet your bottom dollar that's what they're going to gravitate towards. That is the explanation that they will go with.
After belittling and diminishing Naoya Inoue, calling him a hype job on several occasions, saying that he hasn't beat anyone and he's not worthy of pound-for-pound status, after spending so much time talking him down.
If they get it wrong, they're going to feel fucking stupid.
Because these are very dishonest individuals, they'll gravitate towards whatever excuse can be made, namely this one.
I expect that the fight will go through. I expect that the contest will go on.
Stephen Fulton has come too far. The fight date is too close to withdraw now. All he stands to lose.
But if he loses, they're gonna make excuses. That's what the fuck these guys do. That's what they always do.